Oh, man, did you put your desk together? I haven't seen those videos yet. I haven't had a chance. Stand by. Oh, hold on. I'm just going to do this to kill a little bit more time. And then I'm coming in. Oh, it's freezing out. Absolutely cold. Let's see what this sounds like. This will probably echo. Yeah, because the speakers are on. I don't have my headset with me. We'll just test this out and see. Let this roll for a minute. We'll see how bad it is. If I can get away with not using the headset and just muting the mic, but then if I talk over it, does it make stupid sounds? I'll give it a minute. Probably will echo a little bit. Usually it does through the, just, even if you can't hear it, it'll echo through this channel. All right, let's see. I'm going to shut that off. Well, it's not echoing through the channel. Let's see. All right, there we go. Let's see. What hat should I wear tonight? How about the Summit hat? Yeah. I haven't run the Summit hat in a while. We could run the Summit hat or the Cat hat or the Super Clean hat or the Scrub Hub hat. And my other Archer's Garage hat is over there. We'll run the Summit hat. You know, I got a red Summit hat. It's not as nice as the black Summit hat. I found a Summit t-shirt, a leftover from back in the day. Yeah, false surround sound. It's freezing here. I just went and took a shower. Much better. Yeah, I'd rather go on at around 9, honestly. I tried it at 8, but last week I got done. I actually finished the basement. Finally. Finished working in the basement. Hold on, I got to tweak this. I finally finished working in the basement. It took me a month, literally, 5 days a week. And now I'm broke because, like, I haven't worked. Well, I really didn't work much this year. I worked a lot in the beginning of the year, and everything else has been a smattering of work with constantly working either on the shop or the house. But I did a lot of the wiring, and eventually I'll put together, I want to put like a 10-minute video together or something, but there's a lot of video footage, and I haven't had time to go through it. I'm not playing all of it. I rewired a lot of the knob and tube stuff, changed the circuits, added circuits, and then, of course, it was so filthy and just such a deluge of, like, disorder. So now I have room on shelves and stuff where I have stuff in here. I've got a wire rack here. I've got a wire rack in the basement. I've got stuff in here that can go in the basement. I've got bulbs and other surplus things and paint. A lot of that can go in the basement. I went through a lot of the paint. I think I probably saved, I want to say, I was thinking maybe $1,000, but no, paint isn't that expensive yet. Probably $500 in paint because it was all going bad. And some of it was just about ready to turn solid because they don't know how to close the containers. I have some paint that's been around for years and years and years and years because if you know how to close up a container, and air doesn't get in. And, you know, there's another trick that I saw, too. I was watching some other stuff. You can take, they sell a gas, basically. It's like a CO2. And the high-end paint places will have it. But if you've got inert gas, for one of your welders, MIG or TIG, what you can do is you can just unplug the mechanism that spools out the wire. Just unplug it, turn your bottle on, and clean the container ridge off and all of that. Then get yourself some. What I use is plastic bags, like old plastic bags. I just use a new one, but I only use one layer. Like the Ziploc bags. Saran wrap works for smaller containers and stuff, but if it's like a gallon or a bigger container, and the container's a little bit beat and the lid's not, maybe fitting right or whatever, clean it all off nice. Get yourself 1 mil, like one layer of a plastic bag. Cut off the rest and kind of start filling the container, from the gas welder, and then put your plastic over it, fill it up a little bit more, and then the plastic's over it. As you pull your nozzle out, put your lid on, and then bang the lid down. And you will have that paint for a very long time, especially if it's something that you may not use in a while. And some of these paints are expensive. The alkalids are expensive. Some of those are very expensive, especially the oil-based paints or the paints that are for, like Johnny does, has been working on his car. If you want to save some extra touch-up paint and you want it to be around for a long time, try this. You'll have it. Absolutely. They actually sell a product that you can spray in there, right? Because you want to remove the oxygen. And then you want to make sure it doesn't get back in, which is why I say you want to seal the container. So, Big Dog's back. Let me catch up with you guys. Pretty nice here today. Cooler tomorrow. Bravo says pushing 80s by midweek. Yeah, no, it's cold here. The desk is on the floor and putting the computer back together. Nice. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I saw you doing something. Like I said, last week I got done at around 8, but I was done and I started eating or whatever. Brett says it's weird in my house this week, too quiet. Yeah, well, eventually you'll get another cat or something. Brett's cat died. Trolley passed away. Yeah, I was asking the family tonight because it's Christina's birthday. So happy birthday, T. She's not paying attention. Because I think Apollo's like 15. Or going to be 15 in September. So I'm like, when is it? What's going on? Yeah, and he's shot. He just crapped in the house earlier. So before I came out, I'm like, I have to pick it up. He doesn't even know when it's coming out. He can hold his pee, but he can't hold his poop. He doesn't know. Like sometimes I'll go to let him in. He's got to get up the 3 steps in the back and he has a hard time. And if he falls, he gets upset. Because he was a big, strong dog, and now he can barely get up these stairs, and it bothers him. So when I used to come get him from behind, try to grab him or help him, he would bite me, he'd get mad. And I said to Christina, I said, what we got to do is pet his rump, and then as he's going up, just touch him lightly. Just get him used to the sense of these two things, because it's like Pavlovian, right? So now he likes it when I come outside, pin the door back, and I stand there and I'll like clap my hands to keep his mind straight. I'm like, come on, get up. And then as he starts going up, I'll kind of like not grab his rump, but I'll just like this, open hand and so 2 things. One, it gives him a little bit of that help. But the other thing is that if he falls, I'm like, I got you, right? You're not going anywhere. Nothing happens to him, but he just gets upset. So it takes him forever to get in. To get him in, he'll wander around, he'll try, he'll sneeze, he'll get mad, and he'll wander around, he'll come back, and then you got to clap to try to keep his focus, right? It could be 10 minutes to get him in the house, and he likes to go out. And for a while, he didn't even want to go out because he was afraid to go down the steps. Sometimes you have to open up the gate, put a leash on him, and bring him around the front, which is only 2 steps. Which means either you got to unlock the side gate or you got to lift up the big heavy bar on the driveway gate in the dark, right? And now his thing is he sleeps outside, like he wants to be outside all the time because like he's laying on the cold ground and it probably feels good. Let me see what you guys are doing. Let me bring this over to here. Let's see here. Split screen. Detach. There we go. tonight. All right, so I got to go this way. Let's see. I said, bro, you can start watching early end of the live show. I went to look at myself, laugh my ass off. Yeah, because like there's nobody here. It's too weird. You know, it's just too weird. Like I used to try to do the show at 8, but that's just too damn early for me. Bravo says, Brett, I can loan you Darwin, my shop kitty, a while. He's noisy. Harry says, I'm back. He says, Bravo goes, the only downside is waking up around 4:30 in the morning. Yeah, that's his snuggle time, yeah. And my dog doesn't snuggle at all. He's not affectionate, really. He's a little bit more now than he has been. Brett says, Charlie was 18 years. But on the bright side, Charlie passed in his home, not in his vet's office. Yeah. I was reading an article today, and they were talking about, and this is from a vet, and they were talking about, and I had to bring a dog in and put a dog down in the vet. 2 of them, actually. But one in particular, we had to bring it there because when my Madison dog was going, she just went into like full epileptic seizures, and they didn't stop. So we brought her there, and they gave her like diazepam or something to calm her down, but she was still twitching. And so the article was like, when it's time to put the needle in, right? And put the dog down, a lot of people won't do that. They won't be there for the dog. And all dogs, the vet says, they all want to see their owner. They will stare at them. And that's what my dogs did. And a lot of people won't do that. They just won't do it. They'll go outside. I'm like, no, you have to be there. Shame on you. You have to look at the dog in the eye. It's horrible, I know, but that dog needs you there. And it's like, we were talking about, like, we have to get ready. Like, either the dog's going to die of a heart attack, so we have to reduce the dog's stress because you don't want the dog to have a heart attack. I've been there for a dog, sitting there with a gigantic dog up at the top of the stairs till 2:30 in the morning while this dog is having a heart attack. And if I stayed with him until he was dead. So, and then I had to wait until the next day because at that time my back was really bad and there was no way I could carry this dog downstairs. No way. And I had to have my ex-wife, my wife at the time, help me. And then we had to go dig a hole in the frozen ground. But that's what you're supposed to do. That's how it works. You have to be there for them. So when we were talking about it, I'm like, nah, keep him comfortable, help him out. He can hold his pee, but there's something wrong. He starts low riding. If you see these people with these young kids with the pickup trucks and stuff, they raise the front, they lower the back. That's how he walks around most of the night, like that. He loses it. But the weird thing is that if you just tickle his butt, he straightens out. So it's a neurological issue, and it's probably something, some of the pain in the joints. Yeah, probably goes, hey, lost your cat. It's devastating. Yeah, it's hard. He could balance this. I'm waiting on my chainsaw to get the air filter kit. The person who has it is telling me that it will be brought to me, but he tells me lies of him bringing it to me. He tells me lies. Tell me lies. Tell me sweet little chainsaw lies. You guys know the song. Oh, here's Spitfire. Hey, Spitfire. He says, what happened on the front? There was nobody here, Spitfire. I waited for like 15 minutes. I'm like, nah, I'm done. I'm like, if everybody's sleeping or off watching something else. Brett goes, we all saw it coming. Yeah. Yeah, you got to know. I mean, he's on all kinds of meds and everything. We rotate the meds for the dog. We don't over-medicate the dog. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. Like your cat needed consistent meds. Right? We're not at that point yet. And hopefully, we don't have to. Probably goes, it's selfish not to be there for you. But I know. I mean, how do you know? Like, you can't do that. Not be there. But that's what this article was talking about. I don't remember what the statistics were, but they were just lamenting over it. It's like so many people won't be there. And the picture was sad because it was a big collie-looking dog laying on the table like this on his side, and the lady was like this, and it's hard. But that's what you're supposed to do. You have to be there for it. Like I said to the family, I'm like, look, this dog has been such a good dog. Probably one of the best. Probably not as affectionate as the other dogs, but probably the best behaved dog that we've ever had. And, it was when my daughter was really sick. I told you he was always with her, right? And when she moved out, and I was reminding Brett the other day, when she moved out, that was the last time he made it up all the stairs. And then because her bed was gone and there was some covers and whatever folded up on the floor, and he got on top of them and he looked at me with this look. He was a mess after that. I told him, I said, be careful with getting in tight with the ladies because they'll break your heart. He was a mess for like over a month. I was surprised he survived that. Like, he was a mess. He thought she died, And then she really wasn't around for a little bit because she was busy, and then he would see her. And then I think he was mad at her for a little while. And, I always say dogs are people too, and cats. See, Brett goes, I did that with Minnie and I cry like a baby, but I'm not the only one who cries. Yeah, I think I cried with one of them, but it's sad that when I moved out here, basically we had Winnie. Winnie's in a box, right? I think you'll see that too, probably in the video when I show it. He's in a box, and she's in a box, and she couldn't make it. I was carrying this dog in and out to go to the bathroom. She was a mess, and finally we just said, like, look, there's no way this dog is going to make it to the house, right? Once we moved out from, the other county and we're going out this way, and finally it was like, we're down to like the last boxes or whatever. Like, this dog is just not going to make it. We need to bring it in. It's not fair. Like, at some point, the dog is just laying in its own shit. And if it can't get up at all, you have to pick it up one last time. That's just how it goes. And when I picked her up, that was my ex-wife's dog. It was their family dog. And that dog was left outside for years. They had moved, her family had moved. The brother didn't take care of the dog. The mother didn't take care of the dog. It was full of ticks. It had wound infestations. I brought it home. I'm like, I'm taking this dog. I brought it home, and my friend Arthur, I couldn't get the dog to eat the big pill, right, to deworm it. I couldn't do it. It bit me and everything. My friend Arthur actually had to help me. And he said to me, he goes, don't get too crazy with this dog. I don't think it's going to make it. He said, I know you love the dog because you've known the dog for a while. I'm like, well, all we can do is the best we can do. And I would clean its wounds. And eventually I was able to get him clean enough. I wouldn't touch the dog was so gross. I would not touch this dog without gloves on. It was a complete infestation. And I eventually got the dog healthy enough to where I was able to bring it in. I think I got like another 10 years out of the dog. And in good shape. Winnie was so good at one point, I got her so healthy after that incident that she would go mountain bike riding with us in the woods. She was very good at it. The only thing every now and then, though, is that you'd be yelling at her because she'd get in front of the bikes, and if she slowed down, right, you'd run the dog over. And I'm like, Winnie, keep going, keep moving, right? And she would she was great. Yeah, you got like another 10 years. So you can't always just write them off, it's just like people. Because I did that with Minnie. I'm sorry for your loss. Darwin has chosen to be with me for 10 years now, right? I hope he makes it to 18. Probably will. Yeah, you were blessed to have it that long. Hey, Jamie O, this is difficult to see your special friend fail. I know. Yeah, and you do the best you can. That's just the responsibility of having an animal, or even fish. You're supposed to take it. Once you take on that responsibility, whatever it is, whatever the animal is, you're supposed to do the best you can for it. Although I will say, though, that every dog my sister has is neurotic. Because she's neurotic, right? So I think that's what it is. It's got to be. Because I know they take on some of the personality of the owner. And I've noticed this. Like every single dog. Some people just have this weird... Like, the way they treat dogs. Dogs are not humans, okay? They don't understand. You can't... You even notice like women will I even notice like raising my daughter. I'm like, my ex-wife would get like neurotic, like emotional, and yell. And I'm like, that's not what you're supposed to do. That doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It just makes them do what you don't want them to do. And then it makes them neurotic. No, you don't negotiate with a dog. There's no negotiation, right? The dog wants direction. You have to give it to the dog. Even if it's sometimes a swift kick in its butt. You don't want to hurt it or anything, but they know from that. It's like when my dog doesn't want to do something, he'll bite me. Okay? When he gets mad, he'll bite me. He doesn't break the skin or anything. But that's how they speak. That's how they tell you stuff. Like if you're hurting it or something like that, or you're doing something to it. We had the vet and an assistant come and give him a check over because there's just no way you're going to get this dog in the car at this point. It's too stressful. I can't pick him up. So we had to muzzle him, and the one assistant had to brace him like this the whole time. And he eventually settled in. He wasn't happy about it. But once we took the muzzle off, he was fine with everybody. He was all happy. But then when one day I went outside, I went to touch the area where I had to take the blood and everything out of, and it should have been fine. But, he didn't want me even so much as putting my finger on him. I'm like, you okay? Oh, snapped at me. It didn't hurt me or anything. It's just like, don't you touch that. No. Some people freak when that happens. I don't know. Brett says I'm getting another kitty. Yeah. I was reluctant, but my nurse friend said, yeah. No, you're not replacing anything. I'm just giving another kitty a forever home. Yeah. Yeah, there's tons of them out there. Yeah. Yeah, there's tons of animals out there that need homes. There's 2 black cats, like one's black with some furry little paws. They must live across the street, but they often like to come on our front porch and hang out on the porch and stuff, and because it's out of the weather or whatever. And Christina's like, let's bring him in. I'm like, first of all, it's not ours, and you're not bringing them in the house. It's not happening. Yeah, no, it's not like replacing. You're not replacing an animal by doing that. These animals, there's so many of them. They sit in the pound and stuff, and the pound will kill them eventually. Depending upon the area you're in and how many of these animals come, and what's going on with the animal, at some point they put them down. So, what you're doing when you would die. I only take, I've gotten, Apollo is mostly, I want to say he's probably he might have had papers at one point. I don't have any, but he could be a purebred. But I don't look for that. Much better, and mostly I've gotten animals from pounds or from people. Madison was one of these dogs that could jump over 6 feet, was a great Frisbee player. When I got her, she was jumping on everybody's head, literally, and she was horrible. I had to fix her. It took me a long time, and I had to fix her. But she was a sweet, wonderful dog, very protective of Christine. I never had any issues. And a lot of people don't know how to deal with their animals. Cats, maybe it's different, but with a dog, it could be too much for the person, and they want to get rid of it. And maybe that's a good thing, because if it's too much for you and you keep it, then these dogs can get, especially dogs, they get neglected. I mean, cats can kind of fend on their own, but dogs can't do that. Yeah, Christina should get a kitty. They make good company. Yeah, they do. I don't know if we both have allergies to cats. Well, I used to have allergies to dogs, but I don't really have allergies anymore. Cats a little bit more so. Like a lot of people, I used to be very allergic to cats. And even for a while I was for dogs, but I don't know. Thing is, the way Apollo is right now, usually I try to bring another animal in. Like Apollo was around for Mario. Mario was around for Hojo. Hojo was around for Madison. Madison was around for Winnie. Okay? And when the last one died of that chain of events, because at one point I had 3 dogs at the same time. And so when Mario, the little dog, was around with Apollo when Apollo was young, but Mario was old, and after a couple of months, Mario died in Apollo's cage. Just died. Came out one day and the dog wasn't moving and it was dead. So, but I think Apollo is too old and maybe perhaps too feeble right now to bring another animal, young animal in. I remember when I brought Madison in, who was a Rhodesian Ridgeback, mostly. And they're lion killers, right? And I've seen her do what they do. They get you from behind. They get on your back, and they go for the neck. And I've seen it out front with other dogs. I've seen her attack other animals. Anyway, I remember Winnie, the older dog, when Madison would get in trouble and I would yell at Madison. Madison would get yelled at by Winnie. And Winnie would kind of like pull Madison aside and give her what for in dog language. Let's see. Let's see what Brett sent me. So, but I don't think that's, I don't know if I should do that this time. Let's see. If I can get to it. No, I don't want camera. It's not coming through yet. Yeah, nothing's coming through yet. Was that it? Oh, it's a little, yeah. Would you put a solar light on top of it? That's the final resting. You're probably not going to really see it. Yeah, you can see it. Would you put a solar light on top of it? Is that what's on there? Like an old solar light or something? Yeah, I don't. They're in unmarked graves back there. There's lawnmowers on top of them somewhere. Yeah. Short hairs, yeah, maybe. Yeah, Charlie was long hair. Yeah, I don't really care one way or the other. That's what they say. The short hair is better if you have any allergies. So I wanted to show you guys. So the title track is ANSI Certified Mechanic Can't Fix a Snowblower. Right? So I want to give you guys a test. Let's turn this off. Hold on. How do I do the live screen? I used to just go like that. Yeah, I can just go like that. I want to give you guys a test. So let's see if you guys can fix a snowblower. Some of you Alabama or Florida guys ain't gonna understand, but you could still. You might get it. You might get it. All right, I'll explain. So I put out a video 3 years ago. Do I have it up? Let me see. This is all the stuff I was looking at. Hold on, let me go get it. Let me open up a link. Give you guys a test. See if you can fix this snowblower. I'll give you some info on it. Hold on. I'm just opening up the old. All right. So I'm not going to show you the video yet. All right. How to fix a hard start kickback, cord jerks back on a Craftsman Tecumseh 5.5 horsepower engine snowblower. So it's a Craftsman machine, and it's a Tecumseh 5.5 horsepower engine on it, on a snowblower, and it doesn't want to start. It kicks back. So start off with that, and then I'm going to give you some parameters of kind of like guidance. Let's see. Go over to the right monitor. See what you guys say. All right. So it's not the carburetor. Okay. So I already told you what's wrong with it, the basic symptoms, and this is off the title of the video. So it's not the carburetor, it's not fuel related. And here's some multi-choice answers. Okay. Shut up, Brett. We'll get to you later. All right. It's test time. All right. No talking. Let's see. Valves. Could it be number 1, valves not sealing? Could it be number 2, valve timing issue? Oh, I like that. Sheared key. Hold on. I might add that. Number 3, ACR. Is it broken? Is it not working? Is there no spark? And is it a spark-related issue? And we'll add to it Brett's sheared key, right? Just to see, right? So there's your choices. And I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you narrow it down because I want you guys to think. So I don't want to say too much. And we'll just kind of think about it a little bit. So once again, before I come back, valve's not sealing, so some kind of sticky valve issue. A valve timing problem. Now think about the Takumi 5.5 horsepower, but try to, for those of us that live up in the north, try to imagine a snowblower engine, not a lawnmower engine, right? So the things that you know about lawnmower engines, direct drive, don't necessarily pertain here because it's not a lawnmower engine. So ACR broken, not working, no spark. Well, there was some spark. There was some spark. It tried to kick, but it kicked back. Spark-related issue. So I think we could take number 4 off, and maybe we'll take number 4 off, and we could shove in the sheared key. Yeah, we could put, but we'll go number 6. We'll just leave that up, the sheared key. How do you spell sheared key? Has it got an A in it? Oh, it'll fix it. I don't know. Arch doesn't know how to spell. So give that some thought. Let's see. So Brett's talking about, he fixed something today that blew gas-powered PPV fan for a fire department. Oh, wow. So Brett thinks maybe sheared key. That's not on the list, but it is now. Spitfire says maybe check flywheel key. So same with Brett. It's number 6. Spark related if it's blowing back through the carb. That's a good one. Bravo says no air filter on snowblower, so intake resistance not enough. It's a good question. And he says ACO wouldn't cause backfire. I don't think it's just hard pull. That would be true. That would be true. Now let me remove. We'll comment out the ones that it's not to narrow it down. All right, so I'm going to comment out sheared key. It's not a sheared key, but that's a good. It's a good one. It had spark and it did try to kick, but then it kind of ripped it out of my hand. So it's not no spark. So that leaves us with 1, 2, 3, and 5. So why don't we cut you out of there. Now, one of the reasons why I'm going to come back, just leave that up for a second. I'm going to come back. Now, one of the reasons why I'm kind of going through this is minimize this, because a fella wrote in, and he was nasty, of course, right? And wrote in. Let's see if I can find him. Let's see, he goes. Let's see. He probably removed some of his comments. Yeah, it looks like he did. Yeah, I think he pulled away. I should have saved it. It looks like he pulled back some of his comments. Hold on. He did. Probably because I embarrassed him. Let's see. Yeah, he did. He did. He pulled back some of his comments. So he says to me, he goes, I am a certified ANSI engine mechanic and you don't know what you're talking about. So, yeah, I don't have his original comments. He actually removed them. Let's see if I can find it somewhere else. Yeah, because he was quite nasty. And he starts telling me, he went through the logic scenario, and basically he went through them, and he said, he gave me some of these ideas. and he thought about the valve not sealing. He told me it couldn't be what I said it was. Couldn't be. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're lying. Accused me of all this shit, right? And then he was just very rude. And he went through the logic. And he said it's either the valve's not sealing or it's a timing issue or the ACR is broken, it's not working. But you don't know what you're talking about. It couldn't be what I said it was. Now, I went through the video and I showed it. All right? So, let me come back to you guys. So Bravo's getting close. Hold on. Bravo's getting close. Malice goes, it's the flywheel key way key. No, we just eliminated that. Pay attention, Robert. If you don't pay attention, all right, you're going to have to go to the principal's office. There's no fooling around in my classroom. This is school time. So, not sheared key, and not no spark, and not the carburetor, right? So now, and Bravo is very close. So, let that sink in, all right? That's a good one, Brett. Brett says coil on upside down. That's good. That's a good one because, people, being, Brett knows because Brett works in a shop. Brett, we see us guys that work more regularly, even as a hobby, or professionally, you see monkey crap. I'm just working on that Bluebird, and there's, people touch things. My favorite thing is, why do I get these machines missing hardware? And this time I found the hardware jammed in between the carburetor and the muffler, and like, what the hell is going on, right? Okay, but no, coil is not on upside down. So basically this thing, it looked pretty good overall, but all right, I'm going to back up a little. So, remember now, okay? This is, I'm going to clue you in a little bit more. This is Long Island, all right? I didn't even do a video on starting up my snowblowers this year. I didn't start them, all right? I'm bad. I just fixed that one that I put up on my channel, and it didn't sell. $250. Nobody wants it. So guess what? I'm taking that starter motor off of it and I'm putting it aside because I'm gonna ask $250 at the beginning of this year, this season. Well, when the season comes, I don't even want to talk about that. And you ain't getting my starter motor because I'm still thinking about taking the bigger Takumi motors I have. Well, I got like one nice one, maybe two, parts, and maybe sticking it on my 826. So I have electric start. But. So let's think of the scenario, okay? Because that's important. That's why I want to talk a bit about the concepts here a little bit. And this is called first order thinking. Now let me just define that for you. Hold on. All right, let me go to. I don't think it's. I need to grab this whole link. Let me open up, where were we? And this is what really can help people in terms of any kind of diagnostic. All right. And it also can get, that's why I say first and second order thinking. Let me give you an overview. Because it can really help with diagnostics. So I'll just show this real quick and then we'll come back to it. Well, you should be able to see it. All right, first order thinking is a way of thinking that focuses on immediate outcomes without considering the broader consequences. It's a quick and easy way of thinking that's often used to make decisions. All right, example of first order thinking. Eating a chocolate bar because you're hungry, accepting a job offer based on its salary without considering the company culture, cutting corners to meet deadlines. Does it sound familiar, right? This is where people run into problems. Advantages of first order thinking is it's fast and easy, and it's essential for handling many low stakes decisions. Disadvantages are it can lead to oversimplification. It can result in snapshot decisions. It can lead to decisions that don't consider the consequences or other possibilities. Second order thinking is a decision-making approach that focuses on the wider implications of decisions. It's slower and more effortful than first order thinking. And it just kind of goes on a little bit now. I have another one based upon second order thinking in a minute, but let me come back. Now, this is where I think this fellow went wrong. So let's get back to the conditions. This is Long Island, and we're on the Atlantic. We have the bay, a lot of salt in the air, and snowblowers often salt on the ground. Right? You use your snowblower, and people here are lazy, like most places. So you use your snowblower. Maybe it gets the salt from the snow and the water, and it will rain here, and then it will freeze, and then it will snow, and then it will get wet, and maybe it'll rain a little bit, and it'll get moist, or it'll warm up. So imagine, and then it doesn't get used. Like this year, I didn't have to use my snowblower. You guys saw I was using my tractor. Tractor! So they sit. Okay, they sit. And they get put away. I don't even like to use that word. They don't get put away. They get left. They get abandoned. Now think. So I see some goodies coming. All right, good. Spitfire air gap at coil. Yep, there we go. That's good. We're getting close. So right, because you're considering the options here. Some of those coils had spacers under them. Mater says, you really need to make up with this new monitor. Huh? What you really need make up with this new monitor? Oh, jeez. Pay attention, Mater. No fooling around in class. Fitfire Mike says, intermittent spark or bad coil. We're getting close. All right. Yeah, the electronic part of the coil is making it misfire. Right? Mater goes, is the problem a bad kill switch? That's possible because, the kill switches, if they're not set up right or something's wrong or somebody did something, that could be, right? I like where you guys are going. Now, Bravo goes, oh, salty moisture shorting out. Yes, and I'll explain, all right? Water, nope, not fuel related. Remember I said initially, you're not paying attention. Go stand in the back of the room. Remember I said at the beginning, it's not fuel related. Right? It's not carburetor, although I did clean the carburetor, but I went over the whole machine anyway. It didn't need much. All right. So here's what I did to it. Right? And so this is actually the video. Look how handsome I was back then. I'm not going to play the video, but so that's actually the video. That was 3 years ago. Oh, by the way, I got 9,000 subscribers now, fellas. I'm so happy. This was 3 years ago. It got 12,000 views. All right. So it was really hard to start. Let me come back. So here's what I did to it, and I show it in the video. And so I'll tell you what I didn't do to it. And let me bring back this. And I'm going to comment out what I didn't do to it to get it running. I got it running and it ran great and I gave it to the customer. But let's go back through what I didn't have to do to it. And that'll, let's see, what does Big Mike say? Big size 9,000 moving on up. Thanks, Mike. It's Big Mike, he says. 9,000. Yeah, a little over 9,000. All right, so I never touched the valves. And that's what I said to this fella. Because he said, you're full of crap. I said, bro, I never touched the valves because that would require taking the head off and the little rocker cover. Possibly, he says, it needed to be timed. Well, if it was out of time, the valves would be out of time. I said, well, that wasn't it. There was nothing wrong with the key. And there is no other way of really timing it other than the key, not in terms of valves. Other than a little bit of timing might occur from valve lash adjustment, because he thought it was a valve timing or lash or something. I said, I never touched the valves. I never took the head off. And because of that, and it had good compression, and it had nothing to do with the ACR. because that would require me going into the motor, which I didn't do. So now we have it down to, this is where really second order. He was stuck on first order. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm an ANSI approved. Shut up, bro. So no valve stuff was ever touched. I'm coming back. So now let's go back to our thinking caps. Because some of you guys are really, really, really close. But remember now, it's a SnowBlower that doesn't get used. This is kind of where the gotcha is. And particularly, I've noticed with Tecumsehs. So I'm not going to blame anybody for not getting it, because I am kind of like a Tecumseh guy, right? In a way, yeah. Because I even have a video out there of an old couple of Tecumsehs. One in particular took off a SnowBlower, had points, and they told me nobody could get this thing running. I got it running. It was a long video, but I got it running. Ran fine. And it had a short in the wiring. It was a weird wiring situation, which is made worse when it's points. But this is not points. This is electronic ignition. All right. Let's see. We'll have to do clouds. You guys are real. Some of you guys are real close. I like Spitfire goes. He goes, intermittent spark, bad coil is very close, but no. The electronic protocoil misfire, Manus is bad kill, but no. But good thinking, good thinking. That's another place you would want to look. And I often say, remember to clean all that stuff. And I often clean the coil, all right, and I put it back, and I just kind of hit it quick with the cookie. And I'm like, clean the post and do all of that. Make sure she's going to shut off on you and that it's grounded to the body well, right? Soy demixtures shorten things out. Yeah. No, but not water in the fuel. Bailiff, what? Wrap his pee-pee. Yep. Clouds is the bailiff. We'll do the clouds thing. He goes, it was figured misfire. I'm like, yeah. It's kind of a misfire. Yep. Cracking the coil. That's a good thing to check. Right? Froze, then thawed, causing a crack. That's a good thing to check. I want to kind of let this go a little bit because you guys are coming up. This is why I say this is beyond first order. Now we're getting into second order. Third order and fourth order has to do with some other stuff from what I remember. But second order is a little bit more involved. It's another way you have to think beyond and not get stuck on the obvious stuff and that short-minded thinking. And I went through the logic with this guy, and because he saw the video, you guys probably have never seen it, but he's watched the video, I guess. I said, either you didn't watch the video or whatever, and he was really insulting. Like, I wish I could read the rest of it, but I guess he removed it because I shamed him. I'm like, bro, your problem is your ego. I'm like, I said, your own logic. I used your logic to get you to the same conclusion I went to, but then you dropped the ball. And then you hit me with the ANSI. I'm an ANSI mechanic. I'm like, bro, I've been to all those courses too. Give me a break. So what? I can't stand it. This is what guys do. People in general. Guys, they pull their cock out and they start smacking around. Like, whoa, bro, put that back. Right? I don't want to see that. Stop with that. With all your certifications. I've got them too. Who cares? You still can't figure it out, right? I told him. I said, you even with your own logic and watching the video, you saw me do it. I'm a liar. All right, let me bring you to, because I just like where you guys are going, because all of these things, fellas, are all good thoughts and good things to check and good possibilities, and you're very close, and let me tell you what I did. All right, so particularly with, all right, I'll back up. 190cc Briggs & Stratton lawnmower. It has a brake on it. So you pull the bale back, you let it go. That brake pulls out of the way and then slams against the flywheel. And every time it does that, it cleans and polishes the flywheel, right? And they're used a lot throughout the season, your average lawnmower. Up here, again, snowblowers are not used a lot, maybe once or twice a year, and the salt air. Remember now, in the off season, this is the problem with everything up here, vehicles and everything. In the off season, the salt air, just a disaster. I took the coil off. I inspected it. And if you look close, and I got the camera in, I'm like, look at this. I'm like, the rust builds up around the flywheel magnet. It builds up along it can actually get in between the wafers. If it gets in between the wafers of the coil and the coil is starting to grow and stack, throw it out, get another coil, right? It's not going to be reliable, even if it does work. And that's what happens to a lot of them. Remember now, these motors are getting old. They stopped making them. When did they stop making them, fellas? 2009 or something? I think you guys would probably know better than I. The Cumming motors were maybe 2009. So it could even be older than that. I don't remember what the date was. They're sitting in this moisture-rich environment where they're not used. The rust grows around it. And I just found another motor today, and I want to show that. I want to show that in a little bit. Briggs motor. 2000, what did I say it was? 2002 on this Bluebird. So it builds up around it. And it can seize the engine. A lot of people think that the motor's no good because it won't pull over, it won't move. And that also happens too because on the blower housing, mice go in there, they build their nest, they urinate all over it, they build their nest, it gets jammed, right? And then you got to replace all that stuff. And then usually the motor's okay. In this case, that wasn't the issue really, but it was rotted. Now it wasn't seized, but when you pulled it over, what was happening, it was creating a spark issue. It would spark, but the spark timing was not right. Like when you guys said, right? The spark timing was not right. And it was bad enough that when it did kick, it would rip it out of your hand and you're thinking ACR and valve, right? Nope. It's the rust. And people say, oh, rust doesn't matter. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? So I took the coil off. I inspected it for cracks or anything like that. I cleaned it like I normally do. You see me do this in a lot of them. I put it back on. I gapped it. I cleaned the flywheel off. I gapped all of that. And, of course, I checked all the rest of the machine. Put everything back together again. It ran fine. And he was like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're doing. I'm like, bro, I didn't touch any of the other things. And it's fine. You're lying. Stuck in his head because he's an ANSI approved mechanic. He should know better than I. I mean, those guys, you can't fix a lawnmower, bro? Or a snowblower? Right? Those loser lawnmower small engine mechanics they're not like me. I'm an ANSI approved auto mechanic. Oh my God. Yeah, 2005, Brett says. See, yeah, 2005. So let me show you, all right? I think that was interesting. But what really got me, now, of course, there were other people that have been, you're a joker, you're this, you're that. Like, people don't think. They're not effing thinking. I don't get it. Let me see if I can find the little short. I'll make a little short out of it. See, it wasn't a very... Yeah, it wasn't, well, I don't know. It might be kind of long. But all of you guys had good ideas because I got you thinking and I got you thinking in a direction and he lost his direction. So I don't know what kind of mechanic he is. I wouldn't want to bring my car to this guy, right? He'll be stuck in his head somewhere, Clouds is the valent, cracking the coil. It was good. Yeah, all those things. All those things is stuff that you would want to check out and look for. Yeah, Bravo goes, because we don't have any salt here. Although if you're close to the water, there's salt in the water. If you're close to the ocean or, you're, whatever they want to call it nowadays. Follow it, the coil got wet from snow, hiccup. Yeah. And they just get like that. Anyway, especially that the Cummies are very sensitive to it. Brett says 2005, yep. And Bravo goes, oh, yeah, and watching Wes work. He's very good. See, he thinks, and he's ready to be wrong. You have to be ready to be wrong. That's part of it. A lot of it is I was helping a young lady fix her computer the other day, right? So she's, I'll back up a little bit. Brett goes, ANSI is, in this case, it means asshole needs some instruction. That's great. Oh, that's awesome. Sid Farmer goes, I made it, Arch. That guy was right, wasn't he? Yeah, right. Yeah, because I took the valves apart and did all of that. Nope, never did any of that. right? I won't go into a motor if I don't have to. You guys should know. You ever see me really? Well, there's a couple of videos where I pulled motors apart, but I won't do that. First of all, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of time. I have other motors. I try to hold on to them, right? Come across them. If you can get them for a good price. I do want to do a complete motor rebuild. I mean, I've built a lot of motors in my day, very expensive ones. But I try to avoid that because it's a lot of time and it's expensive. And if most of the time, like a lot of these motors, they don't need it. Sometimes you got to replace a head gasket or something like that, It's funny, I'm like, because admit it, Arch, that guy was right, wasn't he? Yeah, because he was right. So I was helping this young lady out, and she, with her computer issues, and this was a hard one to track down. It turned out to be her video card. But if you don't have a lot of parts laying around, like if you have a computer and you're having a problem with a computer and you have extra parts, you can do shotgun diagnostics, right? If you think, if you're tracking something down, what is the symptom, and you're trying to track something down and you have another part, you stick that in. Now, my friend Matt, because he helped her with this computer initially, and he goes, because I was narrowing it down, trying different things. And I said to her, I said, this isn't so much right now about fixing it. You need to know what isn't broken, because a lot of things can go wrong in this pursuit. So I created essentially in my head a flow chart. And I said, imagine a flow chart, because she's a college grad. So imagine a flow chart. Let's come down the flow chart. Here's the procedure. Here's the things I want to check. And we're getting towards the end. And my friend Matt now is there, and he's listening in. He goes, we suspected the video card, but that's an expensive part. She wanted a new one, which is like $800. I'm like, but if you don't need it right now, you don't have to spend $800. And he remembered that there's an onboard video processor. It's on the CPU, and the outputs are on the back of the motherboard. And he goes, I think that thing has it. So I said, let's go into the BIOS and make sure it's on, and then shut the computer down, take the video card out, plug in the monitor into the onboard and boot it up and run that test utility that I gave you. And it ran fine. It didn't blue screen. It didn't shut down. It didn't go black. I'm like, well, there you go. Right. So I walked her through all this, and she was getting a little, tweaked because it was a long process. I said, but we need to know what it isn't, because sometimes you need to know, you have to go through the path of what it's not. And when I go to do a diagnostic, my mind is nuts. So what I'll think of is, well, everything could be wrong with it. Anything could be wrong with it. And then I just start narrowing it down. What is it not? Well, in this case, it's not the valves, because I didn't go in there. And this guy was like, no, it has to be. I'm like, bro, it works fine. What part are you not getting? I never went in there. That's a lot of work. Why would you want to go into the valve? I guess he's never been in the valves in a flathead. You don't want to go in there. No. In fact, it's such a disaster, horror. It takes so long. Like, how do you even charge for that today? Nobody will pay you for that. Not around here, right? They're done. Nobody bought that SnowBlower for $250. Nobody has any money, right? Where everybody's just going broke. I'm not going to do something like that for free, unless it's maybe something I'm intentionally doing for like a YouTube thing. But I wanted to show you this. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. I'll put you guys over here for a minute. Yeah, I saw this today. I was recording it, but I got to find it first. It was one of the more recent ones that I just did. It's not that one. Let me see if I can see it on the thumbnail. Yeah, it's got to be one of these. Let's see. You're going to hear blah, blah, blah. Hold on. You're going to hear it make noise. Is this it? No, it's not that one. Close. No. Is that it?
I'm getting there.
Let's see. Is this it? This might be it.
But there's a little.
Is that it?
That's good.
Nope, that's not that one.
Put a little black back on that. So check first.
That's it.
size is that? It's too tight.
Oh, yeah. Here it is. Hold on. Let me cue it up. Let's see. Wait, I'm going to shut my mic off. Let's see if it comes through. First. You'll hear a little bit of disturbance. Want to check the gap on that? We'll just give it a quick cleaning. Yeah. Let's check the gap on that. Now this one's pretty clean. I mean, I did clean it with the pressure washer. But to me, it looks very tight. That's Big Mike saying. Does the village use so much salt? Oh, yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. Let's see, this is a 10. Yeah, that's too tight, bros. That's not less than 10. That's too tight. All right, let's take it off for a cleaning. While we're here, let me get Sorry, fellas. Yeah, because I'm trying to mute it, so I don't have all the. So I just did some work. I didn't put it out yet on a Kohler twin. One of the coils died, so I bought a set because you kind of want a match set, and I don't trust an older coil. It could be going bad. So I was playing. I mentioned this to Ken. I'm like, don't use business cards. What is this? Stop it. Stop this nonsense with the business cards. Like, that's monkey crap. You need to know what the gap is. And that's for, like, when you're in your car in the old days and it had points or dual points and you had an issue and you had to go in there. That's what that's for. I was experimenting with different gaps. And one of the things I noticed is that I used to set them to 10. But if it's not a lawnmower, the magnet doesn't get cleaned off. And I have seen when the gaps are very tight, if the engine gets old and it pulls a lot of that moisture in and it starts to get flaky, you'll have problems. Similar to the one that I was just talking about on that SnowBlower. And I also noticed that on this engine, on this twin, that when I went to 12, from 10 to 12, I noticed the spark changed. And I show it in the video. You'll see it eventually. And then I think I settled in on 14. And it had a nice blue spark. And it did not kind of have that big kernel with a 10. And that there is something to be said for the distance between the magnet and the pickup on the coil, right? There has to be a certain amount of distance between the two of them. And they're depending upon the coil, because all these coils are different. I mean, you can look up what the gap range should be for each engine, and I think you really should. But what can happen is if the space is too close or something's in between that space, you're not imparting enough electrical energy. Because remember, on the primary side of the coil, what you're creating in those windings is a small voltage from that little magnet that's flying around. And it doesn't make a lot of voltage. It's amped up across the field because of the windings on the secondary side. So it can take that little voltage and turn it into something with almost no current, which is why you don't die when you get a shock from like 10 or 15 or 20,000 volts from ignition coil. If it had any real current in it, you'd blow your hand off your face and you'd be dead. But you need a certain distance, and whatever that sweet spot is, there will be a sweet spot to where that distance is. And so you want to know what that is. And whatever the optimal distance is where it should be. This thing was way too tight. Way too tight. Let's see what Mikey is saying, Big Mike. Let's see, says the village uses so much salt on the roads. The blower breathes that in all winter. Yup. And we can't was out the inside of the what? Oh, we can't wash out the inside of the motor. That's right. They don't even wash the outside. You know, that's why you see the tank, like, you know, the auger basin, whatever tank is always so rusted and everything. And they don't lube nothing. And then they put bolts in where the shear pins go. That's my favorite. I get a kick out of that. And then he goes, my question, what's a snowblower? Frosty's girlfriend? That's so bad. Yeah, like I said, he wouldn't know. But still, this is a good thing to kind of, you know, kind of a good thing, a diagnostic sort of thing to go through. A guy was stuck. One, he was stuck in his ego. That was part of his problem. He was just stuck in his ego. You know? Like, they just don't, I can't think properly. You're wrong. So I can't think properly, so you're wrong. He goes, let's see, no audio. Either your mic's not on or my sound card just died, right? Yeah, admitted Arch, the guy wasn't, yeah. My question is, what's a snowblower? It's too funny. He's a gay Eskimo. That's too funny. Yeah, let me show you this. Hold on. Let me come back to this. I'm not going to stay on too late tonight. We're already into an hour and 10. Plus, there's a cupcake from my daughter's birthday that's hiding in there. Let's see if I can find it. So I was doing a multi-camera shoot. I was having a few problems with it. My cords one of my cords is too long. It's like at the end of the range for HDMI. You can only have an HDMI cord just so long before you can't pass the signal. So I need an adapter for that. I need some kind of like a booster. And I need better cords. And they're also getting old. And he goes, Brett, I thought that was a snowpacker. Yeah, let me spool this one up. Let's see, hold on. Yeah, this is it. Hold on. It's going to be a little shaky because it's a cell phone. Because my other cameras were being used. Hold on. Let's go open up my right monitor. Normally I put my headset on, but I'm just not doing that tonight. Yeah, that should do it. You're probably going to hear, by the way, the heater. See, some shots are more difficult. So working over here, too. The cameras are set up. This is just a laptop version, wireless controller of the cameras. There's an extra monitor. And it's controlling, essentially, this system here to some degree. It's controlling the camera shots. So I can change, if I want, camera view. See, there's a different camera view. And that's the gasket that I'm just getting ready to high tack. All right, everything looks good in here. I'm going to wipe all this off
See all this crap? There's still some crap left over. So I'm just going to
This thing
get
was
all
dirty.
that cleaned off while we're here. And then I'll put a little high tack on that and the gasket, and we'll glue it there. But like I was saying, you can't get... There's no socket that goes on that.
Yep.
What the hell are they doing? Anyway, we can get around that. But I got
Anyway.
it a lot cleaner. It was pretty bad in
It was
here.
bad in there.
What are you going to do?
Hold on. It was bad in there. So that, and I had the camera on the other side of the lift bench, the one bigger camera, all the way on the other side. I had to move it over to here. And when I set them up, I was actually having some issues with getting it to work because I think, well, part of it is the one cord is, the HDMI cord is way too long, and the cameras are different. And this box that's over here, the video switcher and audio switcher, one of the inputs is sensitive, very sensitive. So it will work with almost anything I plug into it. But the others, the other three, are not as sensitive. So it was complaining, and I don't have a lot of cords, but I got a bunch of different types or whatever, and I was fooling around with like, well, what will work? Like, what weird combination can I come up with? And I did find some interesting things. Like I was getting a bit of glitching, and then I found out that whether or not you plug, if you in the first port that's sensitive, even if you don't use a camera, but if you hang a cable on it, it stops the glitching. Like sometimes it's good to screw around with your gear when you have this much gear, but it's actually very easy to do because once I set everything up and I have the machine over on the bench, so I had one camera looking down so you could see what I was doing with the carburetor and the crazy linkages, and those are hard carburetors to remove and put back on again. And then there's the side view because some of it you can't see from the top down. So I could just walk over to my laptop and switch between cameras very easily. I don't have to walk back to here, right? To this, because everything, I can actually have everything record to the laptop and just have everything running right into the laptop. But I have it running into the computer, and then it's recorded to one of the hard drives here. So it's immediately there. That's what I'm showing you from. It's a folder with on a separate, another hard drive that's very fast. And everything just records right into the computer, and I don't have to upload it or record it to a card and take the card out and plug it in. So it just makes things a little bit easier. But yeah, by the way, those bolts, I was going to take the muffler off because it's basically just two bolts, so you could see better and it would be easier to put the carburetor on. And I can't get them off, right? No socket fits on those stupid bolts. They slip off. Whether it's metric or standard, nothing fits on them. So this is a 2002 engine. I don't know what the hell Briggs was thinking or what they're using. It's some, I don't know. Let's see what are you guys up to. Maybe, let's see, wait. Brett goes, a lesbian Eskimo is a Klondike. Bitfire Mike says, Tao made mention a video that Briggs rep said rust on fire won't make any difference in spark. No, he will. That's not correct. If it's a light like coating, like what you saw there, right? That looked really good. Like that, no, there's no difference in that. I just cleaned it because I had to recap it. So while I was there, I cleaned it. Like I said, while you're there. But I needed to recap it. But that little bit, it was very clean. That little bit that was on that wouldn't make any difference. Yeah. It would be so slight that you could measure it with the right equipment, but it wouldn't have any impact on the engine. Being too tight in a gap would have an impact, for sure. But I think that's what they were talking about in that video, because I think I did see that video. But if it's got a lot of junk on it, clean it off. Yeah, Brett goes, maybe that Briggs rep was ANSI certified. Hey, TJM. Robert goes, wow, maybe same guy. Brett goes, hey, TGM, hi, Brett. So, yeah, I got all that done, and I'm going to test. I think I might test the engine out tomorrow. So I got the different camera views, which will be fun to fool around with and edit. I think that'll be fun. A little different way of shooting it. It's a lot easier than having to move the camera around. And the only thing I would occasionally do is maybe zoom in or out a little bit more. And a lot of that I can actually do in edit. I don't even have to do it on the cameras. It just takes a little bit longer to set up, but you got to set up a camera anyway. What's TJ? What are you doing, TJ? I was helping TJ out with his snowblower. He was trying to tune it and get it to run properly, but he doesn't completely understand. I think he understands a lot more now, but he doesn't completely understand the relationship of the choke to the carburetor and starting it. And those old Tecumseh engines are hard to start. Which is why I kept saying to him, I'm like, you just spray starting fluid up in there. You know, put the choke to about half, turn the engine up to full RPM, spray starting fluid up underneath there, and keep running that in there until she starts to stabilize out. And leave the choke on until it warms up. And then you have to take the choke off, but he wasn't really understanding where it was off. So on those carburetor housings, from now on, I'm starting to put, like, in ink pen, I'm starting to put things like on, off. I'm going to do it with this thing, too. This machine here, because it got beat. The letters are white on a black background, and the black background's, like, coming off. So I might just paint it black real quick and then just write on it. You know, choke full on and an arrow. And then on off, because it's just an on off, and the governor takes care of everything else. And this is a newer engine, this Briggs engine here, so it doesn't have any adjustments really. Just the idle, we used to call the curb idle, the throttle position screw for idle. That's all it has. The older ones had full adjustment. You had adjustment for idle, and you had adjustment for high RPM. Now TJ's got a adjustment for high RPM, but I was trying to explain to him, like, you have to get the motor running and warm and with the choke off, with the blade open. And it's easier to do it if you to see it and understand it if you take the blower housing off, right? The carb housing off. And then you can see that the choke is open. And then when it's warm, you may have to doctor it a little bit. And then you need to take the high-speed screw and have it on full throttle. And then you can take the high-speed screw or go in or out or whatever and find that sweet spot to where it really runs up in RPM. But you should be able to do that with the choke off. And if you take the choke off too soon while you're making that adjustment, it will stall. So you have to play with it a little bit until you can humor it to where you can make the adjustments, and then the choke is off and you're real close and it's not going to stall, and then you can dial it in the rest of the way. But what a lot of people don't understand is that when these motors get older, you tend to have to leave the choke on a little bit, like about halfway-ish, until the motor warms up. Because it's cold out. And you're often left outside, so they're ice cold, the whole thing. And that carburetor is down low, and it takes a while for all this to happen. And that's supposed to be what that housing is for. That housing is supposed to capture some of the warm air from the engine, but if the engine isn't warm, there's no warm air. So they're temperamental. The older Decummys are great engines, but they're temperamental. They're very tunable, especially the older ones with the carbs, with everything on it, with all the adjustments, but they're temperamental. And it just have to be able to noodle with it. But I've been noodling with those stupid things since I was a kid. So, you know, Brett goes, by the way, Arch, lost 14 pounds since my last visit with Dr. Maggie, whatever, my heart doctor. Nice. Yeah, go slow. Remember I was saying there's all these toxins that we get inside of our fat cells and shit. So you don't want to lose it fast. And plus it doesn't stay off if you lose it fast. So you go slow. Give your body a chance. Everybody here is sick. They tried getting me sick. I had, what was it, yesterday I slept most of the day because I had a fever and I was achy. And no other real symptoms or anything, just no energy, achy. I think it started like Friday. Let's see, no, today's Saturday, so it started like Thursday. So I was working Thursday, and Friday I was like, all right, you're all hacking everywhere and sneezing, and I'm achy and I got a fever. I'm going to go lay down. I spent most of the day just laying down. It was so cold out, so windy up here. But I didn't have any other symptoms. So I just shut down for the day. It's not like I don't do that anyway from time to time. And today I started to feel better. And really still no symptoms or anything. Just, I woke up with like 98.2. So I'm like, that's fine. That's good enough. I'm just going to be achy and whatever. But everybody's got all these illnesses and it's horrible. Just can't wait to try the new iPhone for a YouTube video. Because I may do a review of it for a quick video. Sure, why not? Right? I know YouTube hates it when you don't stay in like a lane, but who cares? What are you going to do? I noticed that some of the videos that I've done more recently that aren't small engine related, they do good. They especially initially. The best video was that stupid song that I was playing, and then the battery was another one, and then the snow plowing snow. That did really well. But then when I go back to just small equipment, my channel is like dead. It grew to 9,000 subs, but where are they? Right? Everybody says this. I watch so many YouTubers and they're like, by the way, I just looked at my stats and 90% of you people don't hit the like and subscribe or don't do anything. But you watch the videos, but you don't do. Yeah, pretty much. That's true for everybody. But if you're a really big channel, statistically speaking, it probably doesn't matter. But for me as a small channel, it definitely matters, All right, so let me go back to here. Turn this off. But, this whole genre, though, is just, it's kind of getting beat. It's like people want to watch the girls, right? The ladies. They want to watch the ladies with the boobs hanging out and everything. Like, you're not going to get that from me. Sorry, fellas. He goes, and I may take you up on your compressor welding video. On my compressor? Wait, I may take you up on your compressor welding video? Oh, huh? Oh, yeah, I suggested to Brett, I'm like, why don't you show off the welding that he had done on his compressor? Why not? People will freak out over it. But I think it would be a good idea. They'll freak out. We were joking about that. Yeah, people are going to say things like, it's your life. I welded mine. But then again, mine's not an ASME, whatever it is, tank. It's a much older tank made from like cold roll, and then they roll it into a tube, and then they weld the seam, and it was leaking a little bit from the bottom. And my friend Steve was over because he does this for a living. He goes, geez, that tank is old. It's not even rated. He's like, well, try it. He's like, it might die, but I'm like, nah, you're not gonna die. I'm like, I'm a decent welder. I'll just weld the seam. It's just leaking a little bit. And then I put oil in the tank and stuff, and I keep it nice. I like to run a little bit of oil into my tank. I run it in through the compressor a little bit at a time. And I actually need to do it again. I was going to do it, but I forgot. It's getting a little dry because of the water, and you want to have something in there. I mean, I don't have a problem with it coming through the hoses because I have enough separators and stuff. So, and have the tank drain. But yeah, there's no issue. Just a little bit of issue along the seam. And I just build it up nice and make it nice. Man, he goes, Arch, I told you to smile for the camera while I did a video for my desk. Oh, am I on in the background? That would be funny. To check that out. That would be funny. I'll try and catch up on watching a few other videos tomorrow. I was just looking around at some different equipment that I might want to get because I was trying out different cables and different connections, and I wanted to see my other headset and how that worked. And then I added in that old sound card back into my computer, which, it caused a few issues. I had to get used to and figure out what was going on. But it works pretty good. And I wanted to see, can I record back into the computer again? Can I record the cakewalk? Because I want to see if I can record and not have any. You can't have any latency, so you can't just record using like just this standard stuff for cameras. I mean, you can, but you can't track on it because there's just really no way to do it. I can't listen to something and have the camera running and then record on top of it because there's really no way to do it without latency issues. So you can't play the latency. You have to play in time. You have to play within the time. There can't be any latency. So I got that kind of working, but then I got busy doing other things and I didn't finish fooling around with it yet. Bravo he goes, haha, some of my old Snapper restoration vids Arch have the monitor in the background. I forgot about that. Nice, yeah. Yeah, I noticed that at least one of your Snapper videos is starting to get some traction. Those videos tend to do well. Like I often say this, like YouTube is very singular in its purpose. Like today, there's so many people doing YouTube that the only way the stupid algorithms, that so-called intelligent AI, can figure anything out is if you just do the same thing over and over again. And then they're like, then it knows who you are and who to show you to. And people seem to only watch one thing over and over again, I'm assuming. I don't. I can't do that, and nor can I continuously make videos on the same thing. But if you notice, though, that people that do that, their channels will start to do well, even if they're new channels. If you're just the Snapper guy, or you're just the lawnmower guy, or you're just this guy. But if you do a video like me, like every week, and you release a video, you'd be done in a few years. Right? Tom Dolby, he's going through that. I mean, it's his business, so he's churning out. Like he says, I can only really show what I'm doing for a living. But he's doing good on both fronts. But it's the same thing. And you do that for a couple of years, then what? Your channel will be done eventually, because if you get really bored and burned out, you're over. So it's hard. So if you do different things, then your channel gets killed. Even the live videos, right? The live videos don't get a lot of views, and then people come back and watch them later. The problem with that is the way YouTube is set up for YouTubers. So if you don't get a lot of views on your live initially, what happens is the algorithm looks at it and goes, there's no escalation, there's no burn to it, it's not happening, right? It's not running up. And remember, a live a lot of people delete their lives after they're done because it's a live show. Remember, it's like 2 hours. So if you do an hour or 2 hour live and you only get 10, 20, 30, 40, even 160 views, that's nothing. That's like absolutely nothing. Now, if you got 100, I get like maybe 200 views or 160 views, but a lot of them come later. But it's not a recorded show. It's not for that. It's a live show. So YouTube looks at it and goes, there's no escalation. There's nothing really happening. And so they downrank it. And even if people come back later on, it doesn't matter because the later on only gets a handful of views. So either way, it weights it against the channel success and says, oh, I've got 20,000 views here, or 10,000 views here, or 5,000 views here, and 200 views here, and 150 views here. It'll kill your channel. And that's why, like, I know one guy, he does very well, but he doesn't save any of his lives. His lives are done after he stops the live. No matter how many people come on, it doesn't matter. He enjoys doing the lives. But as soon as the live show is over, it's not recorded. It doesn't get posted. You're either there for the live or you're not. And that's actually not a bad thing. It'll protect your channel. And the other thing, too, is if your live show is about a bunch of different things, no one knows not only do people not only know what the hell you're talking about or what you're doing, they don't know what to expect, and neither does the AI. So it doesn't know where to place you. And you'd have to have very specific sets of thumbnails, just like you would be doing on all your other stuff. Because if you do like I do, or even Maida does now, he puts up a generic thumbnail, that's no good. I put up generic thumbnails. That's no good. That's no good. You'll never get any traction with your lives, and it'll kill your channel. So I'm actually starting to think about that. I'm like, well, maybe I'll just delete them afterwards. If you're here, you're here, and if you're not, you're not. Just delete them. They'll kill your channel. And it sucks because if you work hard on your channel, like people like I do, where you're trying to put out, comprehensive videos or whatever every week. It's a lot of work. Why would you want to then suddenly do something that wrecks it? That doesn't make sense, right? Then you're like a self-defeating person, it just doesn't make sense. So I'm actually thinking about that. I'm like, just do the live when you want to do a live and then delete it. You don't have to save it. It's live. And a lot of live shows don't do well anyway. The ones that do well are more like interview shows or, where they're talking about a very specific subject and they stay on it. Like I was watching a show last night for a little while. There's a guy, he's got a nice channel. He's into music and guitars and stuff. And he does a lot of work with guitars. And you know what? When he does his live show, what do you think it's about? Well, it's about guitars. And he takes questions and he talks about guitars. And he doesn't talk about other people's channels. And he doesn't let anyone else talk about other people's channels. And nobody comes up, right? Because most people that come up to shows that maybe don't do YouTube or don't have successful YouTube channels or have something very specific to say, they don't know what to do when they're up there. And then they detract from the significance and the importance and the escalation of the show. So he doesn't do anything like that. So I'm like looking at some of these shows more recently. I'm like, you know what? And they do well. And people like it because they know what to expect. They know what to question, what to participate in. It can't be just this general topic thing because people don't want to talk about that stuff. And you'll piss them off too. I remember a couple of guys came back at the end of last year. Like, it used to be about this, but now I've noticed you've been pulling away from that. And, yeah, they'll get mad at you. You're pulling away from this because you used to yeah, I know. I should talk about the same thing every day that I'm doing every day. That's how YouTube is now. It's just how it is. It's like, I don't really think I really want to do that, but okay, I can understand why, It's very narrow. Let's see, I showed Arch a new phone. Yes, or in our case, 7 hours one time. Yeah, that's no good. 7 hours is no good. He goes, I may look at a standalone camera app called Blackmagic Camera. It gives you total control of the iPhone camera. Oh, is that right? Yeah, because I have this, I use Blackmagic. Well, this is a Blackmagic switcher, right, that you guys see me use and I show often. And then I use the Blackmagic editor. But they've been coming out with all kinds of new stuff. But I was actually looking at this, by the way. Let me just show you. I was looking at this thing. I have it up? Yeah, I think I do. Let me close that. Do I have it up? Oh, I hope I didn't close it. Oh, yeah, here it is. This used one out too, which is nice. I know Henry bought something a little bit different than what I have. This is the Roland Direct Streaming AV Mixer. What's nice about some of these is you don't even need a computer, fellas. Like to hook to the internet. They just do it. This is what it looks like up close. This is one of them. But what I like about this one here, see all these channels and these mixers and all this stuff here, it also is like, they're starting to learn about, the manufacturers are starting to learn about what YouTubers and home studio people want, what they're looking for. In the past 5 years, a lot has changed with cameras and technology and stuff, especially for us like smaller YouTubers or upstarts or people that have been doing it a little while and want something a little bit better. And this not only controls the video, but it controls the audio. And all of these over here are more, these are universal audio inputs. So you can use balanced, mics like what I've been using for years with the bands, or 1/4-inch jacks. Many of them even have the small little mini jacks that the cameras use, so you can plug your camera microphones in and, along with cameras. And it does all of the switching up in here. And this is a monitor for setup menu. And also you could see how, you could see what's on your preview. I have like multiple cameras, so I could see what my setup is, what's up next, what's going live. It really just depends. And there's just like, this is the one that's a little bit nicer. Maybe I don't think I really care for this one. This one's a little bit too nice, but it doesn't have it has the same audio inputs, but they're set up a little bit different. And the screen is not as big. It's more geared for video than audio. Whereas I want something that's a little bit more geared for, let's see if I can find it. Do I still have it? That was the Roland. This is the Boss something or other. No, it's not that. I don't remember where I put it. Hold on. I might have it down here somewhere. I was looking at one that was more geared for guitar. I just wanted to show you before I get out of here. Do you think I saved enough crap? That's the Mackie. I forget the name of it. The Boss something or other. I don't think it's that one. See if I can find it. Let's see. Boss. Switcher. Boss MS Multi-Effects. That's not it. That's similar. Not the switch pedal. Let's see. I've been looking at so many of these things. I have it somewhere else. Anyway, let me come back. But I just have so many. I've been looking at so much of this stuff. The one that I was looking at looks similar to the one I just showed you, but it's made by Boss. And Boss makes guitar effects. A lot of people do, but they've been making guitar effects for a long time. And what I like about it is it's a video switcher. Well, no, it's an audio switcher. It's an audio panel, but they have their huge effects library and their amp emulator library inside of it. So essentially all of the audio comes in through that, and you can plug your guitar in and you can get whatever sound you want right in the box, in the audio controller, instead of just having a mic and amplifier, because I love this amplifier and everything, but it's noisy and it's loud, and really it should be somewhere else in the room. And it has maybe 2 sounds, whereas their library of sounds can emulate almost anything I could imagine. And it's designed for people that want to live stream or record like I want to, or I do, with cameras. But I have the camera switcher. This thing would be handling all the audio and any audio input I want to bring in. And there's no delay. And then you can record it through USB to your computer. And if you want, you could put it on like Cakewalk and multi-track. So that one is that one is more geared for the guitarist. So they're like trying to figure out the industry. It's like not just the cameras and all that, but they're trying to figure out the industry for YouTubers and how do they want to do a presentation and which way are they leaning. So are you leaning a little bit more towards audio? Are you leaning a little bit more to cameras? Do you want to do a live show? Do you not want to use a computer? Do you just want to have boxes on your desk and the computer is an afterthought? Maybe, you know, because a lot of these things, like the one I was looking at, you can Bluetooth your phone right into it. So if somebody, let's say, for example, you want to do an interview, right? You can either Zoom somebody on your phone, and then the phone will connect either directly through a wire or through Bluetooth. You can bring that person up, pot them into the video and audio mix, and now you can do an interview. Or you can play an MP3 file into the mixer, into your computer, live, either live or live on YouTube or whatever else. It's like, yeah, trying to put all this stuff together, but there's a lot out there to cover. Pretty cool. It's all usually under about $1,000, usually about $500, $300, somewhere in that range, $400. Let's see, Black Magic Designs. Yeah, that's what that is. I like their products. I still want to buy my video editor. I didn't buy it yet. It's like $300. But if you buy it and you own it, not only do you get some of the extra features that you're locked out, which most of those I don't really need, but the biggest thing is it caps your ability when you're using the edit or you're doing an export on your files. It caps the ability to completely 100% utilize your video card. And that's really where the difference is, because then what it does is in the free version, it throws everything onto your CPU, and it's really the video card that does the rendering. That's where the horsepower is if you have a nice video card, that horsepower is really what's going to render the video quickly and accurately, and you'll be done with the process a lot sooner. So all my stuff I burn off into 1080p in HD, and then I take that and I upscale it to 4K, and then that's what I upload is 4K. But that process takes me longer because I can't completely use the video card because I don't own the software. What'd she say? I thought you took one already, huh? Huh? I don't know what she's saying. I don't know what the ladies say sometimes. I don't understand. I don't want to ask. And he goes, by the way, I didn't know if you heard that I'm having surgery on my hand on the 13th. Oh, nice. Oh, 13th and 24th. Ooh. Can you still, Maynard, will you still going to be able to do this? Brett goes, Black Magic also has their own cloud service. Yeah, they've been expanding. They're professional. Like Boss and Roland, they have like Boss Roland, this is Rode, right? These are all professional companies, but Black Magic actually is a professional company, and they have been more recently building stuff for the cheaper markets, right? The lower markets for people like us. So that's new to them. It's not brand new, but it's newer. Predominantly, they were Hollywood and Netflix and, stuff like that. Yeah, I told Christina. Yeah, I told her. Yeah, she says, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Let's see, how long have we been doing? An hour 45. I think it's a good time to go, right? All right, fellas. I'm going to go chill out. I want to go find that cupcake and hang out and relax a little bit and eat cupcake. So thanks for stopping in. I will check in with you guys at some point in the near future. I'm going to try and do a live every other week for sure. But sometimes, I think I'm hopefully coming into the busy season. So, like last year, I want to try to work really hard and get a lot out of the way, and then I can coast like I did this year for the rest of the year. So I want to get as much done. Plus, I'm getting behind on my video edits. So I got a lot of videos to put out from last year. And I'm still making more. So I need time to do that and clear my head. And I'm temperamental about it, Typical, creator, right? And temperamental. I don't feel like doing it now. I'm not in the mood, right? Ambition is fine, but at some point you just need discipline. Ambition is fine. You can have all the ambition in the world to do something, but without discipline, so I need to get back to the discipline stage. He goes, Arch, you're welcome to come over and give me a hand. Shit for Mike, see you next time. No, Mater, I'm not giving, that's what you have your lady for, right? I don't have a lady, so you can come over here and give me a hand. I'll see you guys later.